My child, I need you to quiet your heart and listen closely to what I am about to tell you. Right now, at this very moment, there is a scene unfolding that your eyes cannot see, but your spirit needs to understand. Picture a room that is cold and sterile, smelling of antiseptic and silence. In that room, there is a woman lying in a hospital bed. She is surrounded by the rhythmic, steady beeping of machines that are breathing for her because she can no longer breathe on her own. She cannot open her eyes to see the fluorescent lights humming above her. She cannot move her hands to signal for help. She is trapped in a stillness that looks like sleep, but it is not sleep. It is a prison of her own making. The doctors standing around her bed are speaking in hushed whispers, their brows furrowed in confusion. They are looking at charts, checking monitors, and running test after test, but they cannot find the source of her collapse. They see a body that is shutting down, but they cannot find the disease. They are searching for a physical cause, but they will never find one because the root of this sickness is not in her blood or her bones. It is in her soul. And here is the truth that will shake you. Her story, her collapse, and her current state are intimately tied to you. You might be wondering how a stranger in a hospital bed could possibly be connected to your life. You might be asking yourself why her pain has anything to do with your journey. But my child, nothing in the spiritual realm happens by accident. She knows exactly why she is lying there. Even though her eyes are closed and her body is frozen, her mind is wide open. She is fully aware of the sequence of events that led her to this moment. And in the quiet terror of her thoughts, the name she keeps hearing is yours. This creates a mystery that we must unravel together. To understand where she is now, we have to go back to where it started. It began on a night that felt unusually quiet, the kind of stillness that hangs heavy in the air before a thunderstorm breaks. She was standing in a dim room, lit only by the flickering light of a single candle. Her heart was racing, not with fear, but with a burning, consuming fire. That fire was jealousy. It wasn't a sudden anger, it was a bitterness that had been rotting inside her for a long time. She had been watching you. She saw the way you walked through life with a light that seemed to come from within. She saw your strength when things were hard. She saw your joy when you had every reason to cry. She saw the favor that seemed to rest on your shoulders, opening doors for you that remained shut for her. Instead of being inspired by your light, she despised it. She couldn't understand why you were blessed while she felt broken. She couldn't understand why you smiled while she felt hollow. And that confusion turned into a dark obsession. She wanted what you had. She wanted to steal your spark to ignite her own cold heart. So on that night she decided to do something unthinkable. She turned to shadows and secrets, reaching for a power she did not understand. She had gathered small things that represented you, perhaps a photograph where you looked happy, or a piece of paper with your name written on it. She laid them out before her, believing that she could use them to transfer your luck to herself and send her misery to you. She stood there in the semi-darkness, trembling with a mixture of arrogance and desperation. She began to speak words that were ancient and heavy, words intended to bind your progress and steal your peace. She thought she was in control. She thought that by performing this ritual, she could bend the spiritual laws to her will. She thought she could reach out with invisible hands and crush the beautiful things growing in your life. She truly believed that she was the hunter and you were the prey. But, my child, she made a fatal miscalculation. She did not know who walks beside you. She did not know that you are not just a person wandering through life alone. You are a chosen vessel, wrapped in a divine covering that is harder than diamond and hotter than fire. As she spoke those words intended to harm you, the atmosphere in her room shifted violently. The air grew freezing cold, and the shadows she had invited in began to twist and turn, but they did not move toward you. They stopped. They hit a wall they could not cross. Because you are covered by the blood and protected by the Most High, her curse had nowhere to land. It bounced off your spiritual armor like a pebble hitting a tank. But energy has to go somewhere. When darkness is summoned and finds no place to enter, it returns to the one who called it. And that is the moment everything changed for her. If you are feeling the weight of this truth, if you know in your spirit that you have been protected from battles you didn't even see, I want you to take a moment right now. Subscribe to this channel because we are going to go deeper into this mystery, and I don't want you to miss the revelation of your victory. Leave a comment below declaring, "I am divinely protected." Let that be your seal of faith today. Back in that room, the terror began. The candle flame didn't just flicker, it vanished as if swallowed by a mouth. The mirror on her wall cracked with a sound like a gunshot, splitting her reflection in two. The presence she had invited into the room turned its gaze upon her. She realized too late that she was not the master of this darkness. She was its victim. She tried to take it back. She tried to stop the words. She tried to drop your picture and run. But the spiritual door had been opened, and the judgment was immediate. This is why she lies in that hospital bed today. It is not a virus. It is not an accident. It is the recoil of a spiritual weapon that was aimed at you but backfired on her. She is fighting a battle for her soul because she tried to touch God's anointed. She wanted to break you, but she broke herself against the rock of your protection. My child, we must peel back the layers of this mystery to understand not just the what, but the why. It is easy to look at this woman lying in the hospital bed and see only a villain, someone who tried to harm you. But my child, true spiritual maturity requires us to see the whole picture. Before she was a woman consumed by jealousy, she was just like you. There was a time when her laughter was genuine, when her eyes sparkled with hope, and when her heart was open to the beauty of the world. She had dreams of a future filled with love, success, and purpose. She did not wake up one day deciding to be dark. She was eroded by life, peace by painful peace. Life has a way of testing the foundation of our souls, and for her the storms were relentless. She faced betrayals that cut deep, leaving scars that never fully healed. She lost things she loved, perhaps a job that defined her, a relationship she thought would last forever, or a dream she had nurtured for years. Instead of healing, she let the wounds fester. Instead of turning to the light, she allowed bitterness to take root in the cracks of her broken heart, and then she saw you. She saw you walking through your own battles, yet somehow you never lost your shine. She saw that even when you were knocked down, you got back up with a grace she couldn't understand. She saw the favor of God resting on your life, the way opportunities found you, the way peace surrounded you even in chaos. To a heart that is healing, your light would be an inspiration. But to a heart that is rotting with envy, your light was an insult. She began to ask, why her? Why does she get to smile while I am drowning? Why does the sun shine on her path while mine is covered in shadow? These thoughts were whispers at first, but they grew into a screaming obsession. She convinced herself that your light was the reason for her darkness, that if she could just dim your shine, she would finally be able to see her own. It was a lie, of course. Darkness can never create light, but pain makes people believe terrible lies. This is what led her to that candlelit room. This is what led her to speak those ancient words. But as we know, the plan failed. The curse struck a wall of divine protection around you and rebounded instantly. And this is where the true horror of her story begins. After the ritual failed, after the candle vanished and the mirror cracked, the room went quiet. She stood there trembling, telling herself that it was over, that she had simply made a mistake and could move on. But, my child, in the spiritual realm, you cannot ring a bell and then unring it. You cannot invite darkness in and then politely ask it to leave. The force she summoned didn't touch you, but it didn't leave empty-handed. It left a mark on her. It left a seed of something heavy and cold deep within her soul. In the days that followed, she tried to return to her normal life. She went to work, she smiled at neighbors, she went through the motions of living. But she knew something had changed. There was a weight on her chest that no amount of sleep could lift. There was a shadow that seemed to follow her, moving just at the edge of her vision. When she looked in the mirror, she didn't just see her own tired face. She saw a hollowness in her eyes, as if something was looking out from behind them. She started to feel a profound isolation. Food lost its taste. The sun felt cold on her skin. The things that used to bring her joy now felt empty and grey. She was walking through the world like a ghost in her own life. The darkness she had tried to send to you had attached itself to her, and it was feeding. It was feeding on her fear, her guilt, and her remaining strength. If you are realizing right now that the battles you face might not just be physical but spiritual, I want you to connect with this truth. We are uncovering deep mysteries today. Please make sure you are subscribed to the channel so you don't miss the rest of this revelation. And right now, leave a comment saying, "God is my shield." Let that be your declaration that no weapon formed against you shall prosper. As the weeks passed, the spiritual weight began to manifest physically. This is the part that doctors cannot explain. She started waking up in the middle of the night, gasping for air, her heart racing as if she had been running for miles. She felt icy touches on her skin when no one was there. She heard whispers in the silence, voices that sounded like regret, echoing the choices she had made. She went to doctors, hoping for a diagnosis. She sat in sterile rooms, underwent scans, and gave blood. She wanted them to tell her it was stress, or a virus, or anything with a name and a cure. But every test came back clear. Her heart was beating, her lungs were clear, her blood was normal. The doctors shook their heads, confused, because they were looking for a physical sickness in a body that was suffering from a spiritual wound. Medicine cannot heal what the soul has broken. The collapse was inevitable. It happened in that same room where it all began. She fell to the floor, her strength crumpled. Telly drained, the cracked mirror witnessing her final surrender. And now she lies in that hospital bed, trapped between worlds. Her body is still, but her mind is screaming. She is fully aware of the beeping machines, the hushed voices, and the utter helplessness of her situation. She knows this is not a disease. She knows this is the cost of trying to curse what God has blessed. We are walking deeper into the shadows of this story now, not to stay there, but to understand the full weight of the victory you carry. After the ritual failed and the spiritual weight attached itself to her, desperation began to set in. She knew that what she was facing was not something a doctor could fix with a prescription. She knew she had opened a door to a realm that follows different rules, so she sought out people who claimed to know the secrets of the unseen, those who whisper in dim corners, who burn herbs to clear the air, and who speak of ancient bindings. She found them in quiet, heavy rooms, hoping they could lift the burden off her soul. She told them what she had done. She told them about the candle that vanished and the mirror that cracked. They listened, their faces turning pale, their eyes widening with a fear they tried to hide. They told her the truth she didn't want to hear. She had crossed a line that should never be crossed. They told her that she had called something that does not take orders from human hands. They tried their rituals. They burned bitter herbs that filled the air with thick, choking smoke. They gave her charms to hold, cold and heavy in her palm. They spoke words meant to break chains. But my child, You cannot break a chain that justice has forged. Nothing worked. The weight on her chest didn't lift. It grew heavier. The shadows didn't retreat. They stepped closer. She realized then that there is no power on earth that can override the protect ion of God. And then came the night that changed her heart. It was the breaking point. She fell into a fitful sleep and dreamed of you. But in this dream, you were not angry. You were not fighting back. You were standing in a wide open field with the sun blazing bright behind you, illuminating your silhouette in gold. You looked at her, and your expression was soft, unshaken, and full of a peace she had never known. You didn't speak a word of condemnation. You just looked at her with kindness, a kindness that felt like a burning coal on her conscience. That kindness broke her more than any punishment could have. In that moment of pure clarity, she saw the truth. She saw that you were never her enemy. She saw that your light wasn't stealing her shine, it was simply exposing her darkness. She woke up sobbing, tears streaming down her face, washing away the lies she had told herself for years. She realized that the poison wasn't you, it was her own bitterness. She realized that she had destroyed herself trying to destroy someone God had covered. This is a profound spiritual lesson. Hatred is an acid that damages the vessel in which it is stored far more than the object on which it is poured. If you are understanding the power of staying pure in your heart, if you see how your kindness is actually a weapon against darkness, I want you to join this community of light. Please subscribe to the channel right now. We are walking through deep truths together. Leave a comment saying, "My light breaks the darkness." Let that be your testimony today. After the dream, her physical body could no longer sustain the spiritual war raging inside her. The ache in her soul turned into a fire in her veins. Her breath became short, as if the very air was refusing to enter her lungs. Her strength evaporated. The collapse happened in her room, the same room where she had tried to curse. She fell to the floor, her body giving up, while the cracked mirror on the wall watched silently. Her family found her and rushed her to the hospital, and that brings us back to the ICU. She lies there now, surrounded by the cold, rhythmic beeping of machines. The doctors are doing everything they can. They are adjusting monitors, administering fluids, and holding conferences in the hallway, trying to solve a puzzle that has no medical solution. They see a woman fading, but they don't see the spiritual debt she is paying. But here is the most haunting part. Her mind is still awake. Trapped inside a body that won't respond, she is fully conscious. She hears the doctor's confusion. She hears her family's weeping. And in the silence of her trapped mind, she thinks of you. But it is no longer with jealousy. It is with a deep, crushing regret. She sees the moment she lifted your picture, and she sees the moment the shadows turned on her. She knows now that she was wrong. She knows that your name is sealed by a power she cannot touch. She knows that when she tried to curse you, it turned back on her like a wave crashing against a rock. She has learned the hardest way possible that you are protected by a love that no darkness can break. This leads us to the final question. What do we do with this truth? Her story is not just a tragedy, it is a mirror and a warning. But it is also an opportunity for you to step into a level of spiritual maturity that few people reach. My child, we have arrived at the final chapter of this revelation, and this is where the mystery truly unravels. We are standing at the bedside of a woman who thought she could contend with God's plan for your life. She lies there, encased in the hum of machinery, her body silent but her spirit screaming for a way out. She knows now, with a clarity that burns hotter than any fire, that she was WR. In the quiet of that room, stripped of her pride and her jealousy, she finally sees you for who you really are. She doesn't see an enemy anymore. She sees a child of light. She sees the immense invisible shield that surrounds you, a shield she tried to break but only succeeded in breaking herself against. She sees that when she lifted your picture in the darkness, she wasn't attacking a person, she was attacking a divine assignment. And the recoil of that attack is what has landed her here, fighting for every breath while you stand strong, untouched, and thriving. But this story isn't just about her punishment, it is about your power. You need to understand the magnitude of what has happened. You were walking through your daily life, completely unaware that arrows were being aimed at your spirit. You were sleeping, eating, working, and laughing, while a storm was being conjured against you. And yet, not a single hair on your head was harmed. The weapon was formed, yes, but it did not prosper. The trap was set, but it did not spring on you. This is the ultimate proof of the covering over your life. You are not just lucky. You are not just surviving by chance. You are preserved by a love that is ancient, fierce, and unbreakable. If you are realizing right now just how protected you are, if you feel a surge of gratitude for the unseen battles God has fought for you, I invite you to join this family of believers. Click that subscribe button so we can continue to walk in this truth together. And please, leave a comment saying, "I am covered by grace." Let that be your victory cry today. Now we face the most difficult and beautiful question of this entire journey. What do you do with this woman? What do you do with the knowledge that someone wanted to harm you so badly they destroyed themselves in the process? The world would tell you to gloat. The world would tell you to look at her suffering and say, she got what she deserved. And in a way, justice has been served. The spiritual laws of sowing and reaping are undeniable. But you, my child, are called to a higher standard. You are called to walk a path that is narrow and difficult, but leads to glory. You have a choice today. You can leave her to her darkness, or you can do something that confuses the enemy completely. You can pray for her. You can ask for mercy on her soul. You can release the bitterness she tried to plant in you and choose forgiveness instead. Why? Not because she earned it, but because you are too full of light to carry the weight of hatred. When you pray for those who persecute you, you aren't just helping them, you are sealing your own victory. You are proving that their darkness couldn't change your heart. You are proving that you are truly a child of the Most High. This is the ultimate triumph. Not just surviving the attack, but remaining soft, kind, and pure in the aftermath. Let's look at you now. Look at where you are standing. You have been through your own storms. You have faced days when you didn't think you could take another step. You have cried tears that no one saw. You have carried burdens that felt too heavy for human shoulders. But look at you. You are still here. You are still standing. You are still shining. The enemy tried to break you with doubts. He tried to crush you with fears. He tried to use people like this woman to derail your destiny. But every single attempt failed. Why? Because there is a purpose inside you that cannot be killed. There is a destiny on your life that hell cannot stop. You are being built for something extraordinary. The pressure you have felt wasn't crushing you, it was pressing you into a diamond. The season of hidden battles is ending. The fog is lifting. You are stepping into a time of clarity. You will see exactly why you had to go through what you went through. You will see that the rejection was actually redirection. You will see that the delays were actually protection. You will see that while the enemy was plotting your downfall, God was setting up your upgrade. A new door is opening for you, my child. It is a door of favor that no man can shut. It is a season where the things you have prayed for, the healing, the restoration, the peace, the breakthrough, are going to manifest suddenly. The harvest is here. You have sown in tears, but you are about to reap in joy. So, lift your head high. Do not fear the shadows, for they flee at your presence. Do not fear the curses, for they turn into blessings before they can touch you. You are loved, you are chosen, you are secure. The battle is won, and the victory is yours. Go forward now, my child, and walk in the fullness of your destiny. Peace be with you.